Okay, so good afternoon. My name is George Hunter, and I'm the A&R coordinator for Tuskegee University Cooperative Extension, uh, working the counties from the eastern part of the state, from Bullock, Barber, all the way across the state to the western part of the state, Sumter, and Marengo and Greene. We want to talk a little bit this afternoon about container gardening. So this growth system of container gardening is a fast-growing concept that's catching on both urban and in rural counties across the state. Uh, it's amazing how much product you can actually grow in one of the containers. Containers can really be anything to contain the soil into a confined space to grow vegetables. We want to talk real briefly about two or three concepts as it relates to container gardening, and hopefully at the end of the presentation, it will look very similar to the larger containers that you see behind me. Okay, so when we start talking about container gardening, we want to start, first thing we want to talk about is uh, what type container you're going to use. So with me today, I have two different free pots. These are just discarded feed tubs from livestock use. We have found to be very beneficial in container gardening. Let me show you real quick what you would start out by doing. Obtain your cattle tubs, use a drill, make several holes in the bottom of the container for water drainage. And when you look at this tub, it's a pretty good sized tub. You want to fill the bottom portion of the tub all the way up, less the top 6 to 8 inches, with a cheaper soil or a soil filler. It could be sand or it could be a cheaper version of soil. And then in the top 6 to 8 inches, which would be from about right here, or maybe here to here, roughly about 6 to 8 inches, we want to use a different type soil. And this is just an example of a Miracle-Gro seed starter potting soil, which is an excellent choice. There's another one called Pro Mix. These soils are sterile soils, weed-free, and they will get you off to a good start in growing your vegetables. Keeping in mind that this is what we're shooting for, is to get a bed that looks like this. If you look directly behind me, in the gray bed and in the lighter color bed, those plants were planted somewhere around the last of August, but before the 15th of September, if I remember correctly. In those beds, plants are planted about 6 to 8 inches apart. I think it's 4 different rows in those beds. And it's irrigated. It's irrigated with the supply line that leads up to the container is a polyurethane type material that we transport the water from your water source, and then we got it teed up, elbowed up, and teed over inside of the container. And you can do the same thing with these buckets. For example, your water source comes in, your water source comes over, you tee up from the bottom to this point, and then you have a pipe laying across, and then inside of your container, you would put these spaghetti tubes. Some people call them humidifiers, some people call them spaghetti tubing. And these spaghetti tubings, they can be adjusted to let a certain amount of water come out, but you're putting the water only at the base of the plant. So that way you are only watering at the base of the plant at the exact time. Uh, you can also use in these systems timers, because now we got to keep in mind now we done went from in-ground plantings to a growth system where we're growing inside of a container. So all the water that it receives for the most part are going to be the water that you actually supply to that particular container, be it a smaller pot, discarded feed tub, or whatever your source of containing the soil, or even up in your larger raised beds. So the water factor is very, very important. So with following a set of guidelines with your soil and your fertility and your irrigation, let me emphasize again, if planted at the right planting dates on collards, of course these are ready to harvest now. You can easily, if you plant before the 15th of September, last of August, get a minimum of 4 croppings. According to the managers at this particular site, these greens has been harvested at least 4 times and cropped, and so they're ready for a final harvest. Once that final harvest, you could come in then and remove those plants, and then you'll be getting ready for your spring crop planting. I hope you have enjoyed this short presentation on a few tips for container garden, and this method can be used in an urban site or a rural site. It's ideal for backyard patios. You can incorporate it into your landscapes, and it's a real simple process to do. It's nothing like being able to grow and produce the food that you will be eating. Thank you so much for listening.